There we go. Perfect. Oh, people joining already. Absolutely clambering to get in. They are in. David, I can see from here. Absolutely clambering to get through the door. Afternoon, everybody. Thank you ever so much for joining us. A few familiar names on there as well I can recognise. So, yeah, I know Alex, Claire, Lenny as well. So, yeah, afternoon, everybody. Thank you ever so much for joining myself and David today. And yeah, we're here to talk to you guys in terms of around assistive technology within exams, assistive technology within the classroom, and obviously potentially for those who may be joining us. We did a session last night for parents as well. There may be some parents on here, so again around assistive technology within home use as well. So my name is Matt. I'm the CEO of AT Superstore, and I'm joined today very kindly, twice in probably a little bit over 12 hours, David, I think now.
Something like that, yeah.
By David. So David, do you just want to introduce yourself to everybody? That would be brilliant.
Yeah, hi everybody. My name's David Curran. I work at Moon Hall School, which is a dyslexic-friendly school down in Reigate. Just briefly, we've got 193 students, 197 students on our books. All our students are dyslexic. We go from year 3 to year 11, and we have assistive technology on timetable. So we have 1 hour a week where the students do text to speech, speech to text, mind mapping software we use touch typing, and we're also now integrating our AI program into that as well. So this is my 4th year since the role was being invented, but I've also done another 17, 18 years in state education. I do kind of, when I'm talking to you today, I know I sound sort of quite a privileged position. We've got class sizes of 10 or 12 max. All our students have personal devices, but I try and sort of relate back to when I was teaching in state schools when I had 32, 34 students in a workshop, some sort of DT background. And also when I go into other schools, I try and sort of make sure I translate that. So please, if I'm saying something and I'm kind of missing the point, please jump on the chat and just ask those questions. Yeah, cool.
Brilliant. Cheers. Yeah, so any questions, feel free to put those in the chat. Breeder, I see you've got a hand up already. If you want to drop any of those questions in the chat window, that would be great. There was an issue last night that didn't seem to be working, so try it. If not, just put it into the Q&A, and we will answer those and stuff as we go through, if that's all right with everybody. So like I say, put them in the Q&A, and hopefully we should be able to pick those up. Perfect. So like I say, we're gonna series of slides and stuff. Dave's very gonna kindly talk through things in terms of some of the provision and stuff, obviously what they do within Moon Hall, but also in terms of the exam provision and things like that, and generally discussing, I guess, AT, the benefits, what's out there, what's available, the way the technology is changing. And like I say, any questions, please put them either in that chat window or in the Q&A. So I'm now going to attempt to share my screen. So if everybody just bears with me, I will try and do that. And we'll go to, let's go to slideshow, and let's hit from the beginning. So everybody should be able to see that. David, see that okay? That's all coming through?
Yeah, looks good to me.
Perfect. So there we go. So let's kick off with the first bit. So what are we going to cover today? Most popular assistive technology tools being used. What's officially allowed in exams, and how to get students using that tech as quickly and confidently as possible and stuff as well. So this was quite an interesting topic and stuff around last night. David had some really good insights and stuff in terms of his both professional and personal background on this. So that's something that we'll touch on further along. And I guess first question is, what is assistive technology? Now, we talk about this every day within our business. Is we know what assistive technology is, so we know what it is, we know what the benefits are, etc. But actually, if you don't know, then hopefully what we're going to get across today is some of the products of what is assistive technology. primarily as well, talking around what's the majority of that would be digital assistive technology as well. So I made the reference and stuff to somebody before that go back a few years, typing into Google assistive technology for where I lived, actually brought up but disabled aids, things like bath aids and things like that. That's what it was picking up as assistive technology. Now what we're looking at is obviously the digital side, but also there are those technologies and stuff available. So primarily what we're going to be talking about is obviously, simple tools that support things like reading, you've got writing, organization, focus, etc. So whether that be a text to speech or a speech to text product, is that a mind mapping tool? We spoke the other day about a new product called Ivy, which is a note-taking and mind mapping tool combined. And also things like focus, distraction, noise cancelling headphones, things like that. So a whole range of things. And I think one of the things to also get across at this point is when we talk about assistive technology, that word technology for some people instantly goes, oh, okay, well, hang on, is this going to be expensive? We're talking about something that, text to speech, is this going to be an expensive product? And I think the thing to get across early is there are lots of very cost effective, and as David mentioned last night, free technology out there that actually will do a lot of the things that students need. And I think the other thing to stress is there is a lot of products within here, but not one product is right for everybody. It is a case of, not one size fits all. There's lots of products, each one different, and it will suit different people in a different way. So what's popular? 2025. Text to speech tools, a whole range of text to speech tools out there. Whether they be installed as well, and this is something else that we're looking at now, is the installed software as against cloud software, the introduction of more AI technology as well, so how that's coming into those sort of tools. We've got dictation software, so whether that be things like Dragon, for example, for those in terms of getting writing, some find it a lot easier to sort of verbalize into dictation software straight into their written document. Exam reader pens, so the actual mobile technology and stuff, again, how that's making a difference on note taking, mind mapping, and also things like visual schedulizers and timers, that sort of time management aspect and stuff as well. We're seeing a lot more of those on the market. Things like products like Boost and things like that and stuff, again, that's there as well. Noise cancelling headphones. We had an interesting conversation at AT Superstore with a rather well-known football team around noise cancelling headphones. It's not your team, David. It's another one. So
Don't know any of this.
and again, how they were looking at noise cancelling headphones and stuff for particular supporters and fans and stuff within designated areas and things, and actually how some of the technology and stuff that is available now would potentially be more appealing and stuff, and they could see more people using it. New trends for 2025. So David, I want to pass over to you for this one because you talked to Gain yesterday about AI and stuff within this as well.
Yeah. We're finding we're putting for example, we're using ChatGPT with our year 9s and above, making sure we've got parental consent, so we've got sort of safe and ethical use. So it's being taught, and our students are also using it. We've also got dedicated chatbots that we're sort of specialising and make sure that they're for our neurodivergent. We can put training materials from the British Dyslexia Association, for example. But the common element in all of those is that text to speech and speech to text. Really, really helpful. It's one of the fundamental skills that we teach our students. I've got to remember also as well that assistive technology, the clue is in the title, so it's assisting technology. We don't want to sort of take away the English or the literacy skills. So we work closely with our English department, our literature program, literary program, in order to be able to sort of find the skills to help our students access the information. That's what assistive technology is all about, giving our students the ability to access information, whether it's here at school or in the future workplace or college or universities, and kind of preparing them for the future as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We're also, trends around sort of wearable tech as well and stuff, and obviously how that's becoming more sort of the norm. Portable exam support tools, reading pens, for example. We've know of a couple of schools who are using those, and actually they're also using them for EAL as well. So not necessarily the actual the child or the pupil, but also to use it with the parents. So they've actually got a couple in their reception area, so that again they can use those with the parent. And again, it's interesting how that technology is now sort of going a little bit further afield with that. So assistive technology provisions for JCQ approval. So David, I will pass over to you again on this one.
I thought I was going to let you run with that one for a minute. So hi folks. I'm sorry if I'm kind of preaching to the converted. I'm hoping, like I say, I'll kind of cover everything. There might be sort of one or two takeaways. But yeah, please, if you've got individual cases, get in touch with myself, get in touch with Matt, drop a line in the chat. But yeah, I'm kind of trying to break this down. We teach a lot of kind of assistive technology lower down the school. We've also got to kind of bear it in mind about where our students are going to be, particularly in year 10 or year 11 when they're sitting their GCSEs. So yeah, we've looked at assistive technology in the provisions. We've looked at JCQ and what's approved and what's not. So yeah, what's allowed in official exams. I've kind of broken it. I think there's 5 bits over various slides. The first one we've looked at is word processors. Like I say, we're very, very privileged. All our students have got personal devices, and I kind of remember back, and I think we laughed with Matt last night about it might just be that you're dusting off the Chromebooks from some sort of cupboards or some sort of store somewhere. But yeah, if it becomes the students' normal way of working, then yeah, of course they're allowed to use a word processor. Also speak with your. You guys probably know, but also speak to your exams officer about things like spelling and grammar. So I speak and I work with various colleges, and they're quite open, and they allow their students to use things like Grammarly, for example. Within our school, we're very, very careful about the spelling and grammar, because obviously when they get into their exams, unless they've actually got an exemption mark for this, then they're not allowed to have that spelling and grammar aid switched on. So again, it's just getting the students used to that normal way of working. So it might be beneficial to leave that on and get the students with a little sort of squiggly lines underneath to right click and do the spellings and grammar that way. But we've got to make sure that we're educating our students, and students know that they won't have that facility in the exam. The device that you use mustn't have any other assistive technology unless it's approved. And obviously, yeah, it must align with the candidate's usual classroom practice, their normal way of working. And again, I've tried, if I can, and we'll share and we'll distribute this PowerPoint or this slide deck, and I've put all the little links in. So if you need to go to management or you need to speak to your exams officer, okay, all the sort of hopefully the latest updates are on there as well. Thank you, Matt.
Hey, hang on, I've broken it.
Oh dear.
There we go.
Yeah, cool. Right. Okay. Very much linked with the devices, whether they're laptops. Computer readers. So we have our computer readers built into our laptops. Reading software. We also have reading pens. So we have some of our students that use the reader pens as well. But yeah, we generally lower down the school, we use a lot of the free products. So for example, a Microsoft school, so we can use their dictate feature, their immersive reader feature, their read aloud feature, and the students quite, get used to using those. When we move into the senior school, we introduce Everway, I want to say. What was text help? We use their read and write. So we've got this little bar that sits over the top, and we try and get our senior students to get used to using that. Again, as long as it's their normal way of working, then they can use that. We try and get them used to using read and write in the senior school. So when they're sitting in their exam, it's not kind of they're not flicking from the dictate and read loud feature to a new bit of software. So it's trying to embed that normal way. So they're nice and calm, they're nice and relaxed when they're sitting in the exam. They're not trying to learn something. So if they've got a human reader, so I mentioned all our students are dyslexic, so all our students are entitled to a human reader. If they're entitled to a human reader, then they're entitled to a digital reader. In English paper, I want to say paper 2, question 4, question 5, I can never remember which one it is. There's an interpretation text. So strangely enough, the only time that they're not allowed to have that physical reader read something out in an exam is in one of the English papers, but they are allowed a digital reader because it's got that flat monotonous voice. It doesn't imply anything. So if you have that physical reader reading out, the student will understand whether it's a happy text or a sad text, for example. But they can have the digital reader. Again, the use of the computer reader must reflect the candidate's normal way of working. So our students, quite a lot of our students, they like the independence. They don't want somebody physically sitting down next to them. So we have various sort of access arrangements for our year 11s in their GCSEs. So some of them have a physical reader sitting next to them. Some of them don't want them, so they use their digital reader, and some of them kind of use a mixture of the two. So we've got roaming readers, for example. So there might be 4 students sitting there. They'll use the digital one, and again, if they want to, they can put their hand up, and then they've got a physical person can come over and speak to them. So again, it's just kind of getting them used to that over the years. So when they're sitting there in their exam, they know what their exam access arrangements are, and they're nice and comfortable with it. On the flip of that is speech recognition software. So again, additional access arrangement. If just because they're entitled to a reader doesn't necessarily mean they're entitled to a scribe. But if we provide the evidence and our students are allowed a scribe, again, they're allowed a physical scribe next to them, or they're allowed some kind of dictate feature. Again, it's got to be the candidate's normal way of working, and we'll come on to sort of how we can find evidence of that. And obviously, it mustn't provide an unfair advantage. Okay, and again, the links are there if you need them. Cool. This is less my field of expertise. We don't touch on these within our school, so I'll pass these ones back to Matt, if that's all right.
I knew you were going to do that. So obviously there's a whole range of electronic screen magnifiers out there and stuff. If you look at AT Superstore, we've got products from lots of people like Optelec and Dolphin, etc. Again, what we tend to find and stuff with this again is around that student's normal way of working. What you'll tend to find is those students with visiting parents they're either using software already, or they've got those magnifiers and stuff because they are their normal way of working, and majority of the time we'll be using it outside of the school and the classroom environment and stuff as well. So again, with all that functionality and stuff within there, it does depend on the product, and it does depend obviously on that exam board as to which ones and stuff are permitted. But again, majority of time, those individuals using those products will be and have been using them for a considerable time anyway, and it's part of their normal working environment. Things like screen readers again and braille readers. Again, it's the whatever's compatible with the exam format and approved in those and stuff, advances and things like that. And again, there is a lot of coverage and stuff around that within those sort of guidelines, etc., and stuff like that. And again, we would sort of go back to that normal way of working. So within this section, like I said, you'll tend to find that those individual stuff have been using those products for a while. There are several out there on the market, but it will be their normal way of working, which again, ensuring that they are obviously then approved and stuff for the exams. And again, making sure that those exams are in that accessible format as well for these products and stuff to work as well. That's the other key to it, is that, you know, the format needs to also be accessible at the same point as well.
So yeah, the common thread through all of that, and obviously the important note, is that all assistive technology must be the candidate's normal way of working, and obviously must be approved by the SENCO and your exams officer who provides the evidence for the exam boards. Yeah, a little bit of information, some further information, the links of how to apply. But again, if you want to talk individually or in more depth, please reach out.
Yeah, and like I say, we will happy to share this and stuff with everybody afterwards and stuff with those links and bits and pieces and stuff. So appreciate David has put that together. So that's a great sort of resource then for everybody going forward. Okay, here's an interesting one then.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, how to get students using AT, assistive technology, with confidence. Starting off as young as you can, but again, always making sure that you're working with a team, with a group. You're working with the parents, you're working with the student, you're working with your literacy program, whoever's in charge of that, working with your English department. What we don't want to do is end up with kind of trying to impose assistive technology over the top and it causing some conflict somewhere. So yeah, generally what we'll do is with our students, or when, like say, I'm going out and working with other students or other schools or other professionals, is basically just start with the strengths. Yeah, identify what the student already does. Have conversations with the student, have conversations with the student's parents. They probably know them better than anybody else. If that child, for example, is using Alexa or Siri at home, then if they've got their EHCP, or there might be something written on their EHCP, but that might be a discussion point. If that helps them access the world outside of the classroom, then why shouldn't we be enabling them to access education within it? So I could say if they're using Alexa and Siri, then it might be something as simple as just trying out some speech to text software, some sort of dictate software where the student sort of dictates in and then the words appear on the top of it, and just try and make it kind of the normal way of working. Make sure that the student's confident in using it, build their confidence. As well as being a teacher in a dyslexia specialist school, my youngest also in year 8 did her dyslexia screening, and we put several recommendations forward for the school. It's taken a long while for the school to come round. It's also taken quite a long while for my daughter to come round. She doesn't want to be that student in a class of 30, of her peers, to look different or feel different. So year 8, year 9 was a bit of a struggle. But we carried on with it, doing it at home. And what we found is this bimodal reading, where she can follow the text and hear it at the same time as reading, was really, really sort of powerful for her at home. So her dyslexia affects with her not with the reading and writing, but the actual skill, the decoding the skill, and also remembering that much information. So when I was using it with her at home with things like homework, it just kind of, she gained her confidence. And then when she hit year 10, it was kind of like, do you know what? I need to get my results. So all of a sudden, it didn't matter what other people were thinking. But when I was talking with her, I was kind of going into my school, and it kind of changed the way that I was not being dictatorial with you must do this, but kind of just being a little bit more sympathetic, that some students don't like to read out loud because they feel that the whole world's listening into them. So maybe it's sort of taking them away and working in small groups, or working with, like, say, maybe they're working at home and you're having those conversations with parents as well. Make AT part of their everyday learning. Speak to parents so that they're doing the same thing at home that they are at school. They can use, like I say, we use the Microsoft products lower down the school in Office, the free version. And again, they can use those at home. Integrate it into normal lessons. I talk with the students about these things. So this is my assistive technology. And if the student says, oh, what does such and such, and they show me the screen, I can't read it. So I'll just say, oh, I need to go and get my assistive technology. It used to be when I was at school, if anybody had a disability, the problem was them. Okay, the social model of disability has changed now, and it's actually the disabling world. So as well as sort of giving students assistive technology, we've also got to create an environment where both them and the people around them are confident and allow them to use it. I wouldn't come out of the co-op, on the door, shh, and then somebody's coming up the ramp in a wheelchair. I wouldn't kind of stop them and say, no, mate, you've got to come up the steps like everybody else. It's making sure that whatever that technology is, whatever that assistance is, just becomes commonplace and everybody's comfortable. What somebody doesn't want when they're dictating is for the whole class to suddenly turn around and look at them. So they've got to be confident in order to be able to use it. The class itself, you have to create an environment where the class are accepting of it as well. So yeah, and again, and just make sure that everyone's modeling it, and supporting it. So if a child is asking me how to spell, I'll do little things like this, and they know, oh yeah, I'll drop the microphone and I don't need to make a big point of it, and it's strange, even in a class of dyslexic students, they all seem to know who's the most dyslexic, and some of them aren't comfortable using it because they feel as though it kind of outs them in front of their friends. So it's just make sure you're calm, make sure don't make a big thing of it. It just makes sure it's commonplace. And again, allow them time to explore and practice. You know, if they've got a device that they can take home or speak to the parents, maybe upload the software. Matt will talk about some of the software that, you know, that you can try, that you can practice for free through AT Superstore, so that they're using the same software at home that they are at school. And again, like I say, give them time to experiment. Give them time to, you know, leave the microphone on and it carries on, like, you know, producing all when it all of a sudden it's like, wow, you know, they'll say a sentence and it's like, wow, oh, this has happened. They'll turn to the mate and they'll start talking to him. They turn around and everything else has appeared on the screen as well. So they've got to go back and prove. Let them make those mistakes. Yeah, and kind of make it commonplace. Yeah, make it used to it. Maybe make a little journal when they've used it, when they've not used it. Yeah, and try and build up that fluency. Okay. Yeah, I put this as number 4, but this is definitely top of my list. But I've got to kind of explain it before I get there. Make sure we involve the student in the process. It's very, very easy for me to go home with my daughter and say, you must do this. You know, I've got X years as a teacher. I've been to school myself. You know, I've got 54 years of experience on this planet. You must do this. It's great for me to be able to suggest it, and I'll kind of, you know, she has to find what works for her. Matt mentioned before, no one tool suits everybody. We show all of our students all of the assistive technology that's available to them, and then we try and encourage them to use it. But I would never say you must use this. So yeah, involve them in the process. You know, what works for them? What are their issues? What are their problems? And you guys as SENCOs, you know, absolutely hats off to you. The way that you sort of get to know and have those conversations with individual students and get to know those little bits that, you know, us as teachers don't have that time in order to be able to talk and share those experiences. You know, you probably have support plans or student passports. Share that information with teachers so that teachers are more empathetic in the classroom as well. And then, yeah, celebrate the small wins. You know, if a child's talking and the information comes out, again, I don't make a huge, great big thing about it. But, you know, if I say to a child, or a child asks me, how do I spell? And I just go like that, I'll just kind of keep an eye and I'll walk away, and then they'll use it. And I'll just kind of walk past and maybe just give them a thumbs up. Don't make a big thing of it, but make sure that you acknowledge that they've had success in there. And then maybe have a quiet word as they're going out. You know, really good, really brave today. You know, you're talking out loud and dictating. Well impressed. Make sure staff are trained as well, or at least aware. You know, what you don't want is a child sort of opening up a laptop, flicking it on, and a teacher going, what's going on? Okay. But also, if a child's got an issue with it, you know, such and such isn't working, they need to know that they've got support. Because if they try it and it doesn't work and they ask somebody and that person doesn't know, it might discourage them from using it in the future. So yeah, make sure that your staff are trained, make sure that your staff are aware as well. And yeah, use classroom strategies that reinforce AT use, you know, like say visual clues. I don't need to kind of make a big thing of it. I can just do that, you know, and that one student knows exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, speak with parents, you know, and encourage that whatever they're using in the classroom, make sure that they're using it at home as well. You know, if they're doing homework, get them to use the dictate feature at home. That build their confidence, build their familiarity. They'll be more likely to use it in the school. We make little short videos as well. So I do training for parents and carers. So you know, in September, I'll jump on a call and what I'll show them, I'll kind of teach them the same way as we teach their young people how to use those features, how to use the text to speech, how to use the speech to text. So again, if there's any issues, they know how to use it. I'd normally leave it for this bit, but I mentioned to Matt, I did a training session with a parent. And then a few months later, they came in for an AI session and she was chatting away about, oh yeah, and he's using this and he's doing that and he's using this dictate feature. And it took me about 3-4 minutes to realize it wasn't the child that was using it. It was actually her husband. So they come as a parents to one session and he was now using it. It was commonplace for him to use it as well. And I think that's absolutely brilliant because that child has the confidence to use it because the people around him are using it. It's not kind of seen as standout or special.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, just following on from what you just said there, David, we spoke about this in the other session, was around that, the technology has moved on now. I remember going to an event 10 years ago in the city, and it was discussions around the use of assistive technology and how it was the user on that particular machine, because that particular machine had the software on there for them, and automatically then people go, but in an environment there where nobody else is using it, you're sort of highlighting that situation. Does the user then want to use that technology? Now what we're tending to find is that you know everybody's going to has access to it. So whether or not they potentially need it or not, they'll find that there are features within those assistive technology products that actually I don't think I need to use it, but I've actually found this, and this works really well. And by actually making it available to everybody, it starts to become the norm. And I think the other thing is around that training is the real benefit to it is to fully understand. And I think talking to lots of the providers and stuff out there, they are all really keen to make sure that teachers and everybody has that training, so they have the confidence to be able to really get the most out of that particular product as well.
So yeah, and like I'm preaching to the converted here. SENCos, you end up with so much information that you're having to plow through, and producing sort of passports or whatever it's called, support plans. Doing EHCPs as well. But again, don't see this as kind of additional work, but review and reflect it. Checking regularly with the child, checking regularly with the parent, checking regularly with the staff as well. Is this child using it? Are they confident in using it? It's very, very easy for us to kind of, and this is what happened in my daughter's school. We worked it so that I could give her a laptop for her to take in. And then I thought, right, okay, she's using it. The SENCos thought she was using it. And then when it came to do a little bit of a round robin, she wasn't using it in class. And it was just as simple as she wasn't confident, but we felt she was. So we kind of left her to use it, but we didn't check in with her for a period of time. And then it became a little bit of a stigma as to whether or not she should use it. So yeah, make sure you check in regular and reflect. A little diary, little reflection, put it on the support plans, and just like, sometimes as well, it's not necessarily how the child is getting on with the assistive technology. My daughter not being able to access information, and we have a lot of this. So even though we're an independent school, the majority of our students come from state education. In fact, the majority of them are paid for by state education and come with the HCPs as well. So they've got quite a negative experience of education beforehand, and a lot of it is, like you'll see, it affects their behavior, it affects their confidence, it affects their sort of their outlook and their viewpoints. So it might not be that you're talking about their use of assistive technology, but has their behavior changed? Has their attendance changed? Has their punctuality changed? Has their attitude to learning changed as well? And maybe just make a little bit of a note in that. Like I say, since my daughter's been using it, we've seen a big sort of effect on her behavior as well. And like I say, we see this in my school as well. So yeah, like I say, and kind of just adjust. Yeah, and they might just need a little nudge. How come you're not using it? Oh, I forget to charge it. Okay. And like if I'm at home, then I can help my daughter. Or it might be that just drop an email to mum and dad. Can you just give me a little reminder to charge it overnight?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. So please reach out. I say Matt's got a whole load of stuff at AT Superstore that you can use or you can trial for free. This is our website as well. So this is Moon Hall. You can see the little sort of catch line at the top. So our aim is for assistive technology to become part of all that we do, for it to become second nature, so that our pupils can access this support independently and with confidence. So not just at school and in the classroom, definitely not just in the exams, but beyond our school as well. These are life skills. On there's sort of various videos and resources, and we talk about reader pens and OrCams and a whole load of stuff that we use specifically at Moon Hall. And like I say, reach out to Matt as well. He'll give you the wider picture.
Absolutely. So what else can you do? I think the thing for me, and we've touched upon a few of these bits and pieces and stuff as we've been through, is we have an incredible amount of sort of technology within AT Superstore from an incredible amount of publishers and vendors from all over the world and stuff that have this technology. A lot of them offer free trials, free access to the equipment, to the software and stuff, so you can actually try it. Make sure that's the right option and stuff for you. You know, that is in turn building that confidence that, you know, that is the right program for us. That is the right piece of hardware and stuff to do that. I think, David, you touched upon, you know, using AT in everyday lessons, you know, normalizing it, if you like, so that it's again part of that individual's education. It's part of their home use. We've seen this with one text-to-speech product in particular, TextAid, because it's an online application. Pupils can use it at home, they can use it in school, they can use it on their phone, on their tablet. It just becomes part of it. And again, I know there's one school who actually, when they send out their newsletter and stuff, that they're encouraging pupils and parents at home to use the technology to have that then read back to them. So it's getting that engagement and stuff and doing that as well, I think is right. Sharing success stories. You know, we were very lucky to come into Moon Hall and do some videoing and things like that again with the pupils and stuff, and it's incredible seeing their reactions, you know, and I think we can probably all agree, you know, that children are nothing if not honest, and actually seeing their reactions to using some of the technology and stuff again is something that I think we should share more of. You know, does instill more confidence and stuff in the technology. Yeah, building a digital toolkit. You know, what does that look like? You know, hopefully not the dusty old Chromebook in the bottom of the cupboard somewhere, but again, various different bits of technology and stuff that are out there to do a different job. You know, build that up, get that information. Again, updates on those guidelines and stuff. And I think, you know, appreciate everything that you've put together here, David, that we're going to share with everybody, because it is, you know, reading through some of those guidelines and stuff, it's, you know, there are some potential interpretations. I know, speaking to some people on some sides of it, and actually knowing, well, can I use this? You know, has anything changed? Do I need to change what I'm doing to meet that? Again, AT consultations, upskilling yourself, anything like that, and having those conversations. You know, one of the things that we are in the process of putting together at AT Superstore is to try and build some communities and forums within the site, so that SENCos, parents, educators can come together, share those stories, share questions, get that sort of information and stuff from their peers, for example, that, you know, success cases, or, you know, have you seen such and such, or we've tried this, and things like that, where we can share that, upskill individuals and stuff to really make a difference, I think, going forward. And again, like I say, please feel free to reach out myself or David for any sort of more information or questions and things from that as well. So that concludes in terms of where we are with the presentation. I'm going to stop sharing because I can see that we've got a few questions, I think, come in as well as we've been going through. So this is the bit where I pass all the difficult ones to David, and then we run out of time before it gets back to me. But no. Okay, I'm probably saying chat yet. So Catherine here, we've been using read and write exams, but found it doesn't work well in maths and science. Do you use it for all subjects, and do you have any advice on this? So that is definitely one for you, David, on that one.
Yeah. Read and write has got a twin brother, twin sister, whichever we want to say, called Equatio. So that's specifically for maths and science. Now, we don't use it. We generally use physical readers for our maths where it's needed. So yeah, I would say, like I say, there are alternative products out there that are specifically for maths. It's the equation side of it, isn't it, when it comes to reading? So yeah, have a bit of a delve. Speak to Matt. If not Equatio, then there'll be other alternatives.
Yeah, absolutely. There's another product actually called Can2, and Can2 has a very extensive math side of that as well. So again, that's another potential option as well. So yeah, feel free to reach out on any of those until kit for that one. Somebody else completely agree, making it available to everyone going forward to normalise it and to cover those who have not been diagnosed, etc. However, how do you deal with comments to say that's not fair because I need it and they don't, so they get an advantage? Interesting. A not anonymous attendee as well. So there you go. Yeah,
It's hard, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely hard. In an ideal world, what we would do is we would kit every student out with an individual device, some sort of portable device that you can travel, whether it's a laptop or an iPad or something, and make sure. I always find it a bit strange because, in essence, what we end up doing is people who've been marginalised for many, many years then become marginalised again as a positive. So they end up with, like you say, it then becomes the positive, then becomes a negative. How come they use it and I can't? It's often down, isn't it? It's down to money, training, money, time, and expertise. I'd put most AT and IT issues down to. It's just having that conversation with somebody. If you could normalize it with somebody who is using it and get them confident to using it. I'm assuming this question is for somebody who isn't allowed to use it. That might be somebody who isn't allowed because not entitled to it. So that's a great.
oh, just breaking up a bit there, David. We're losing you a little bit. Oh, no, just breaking up a minute. I'll wait for you to get your connection back. I'm just going to move on to the question from Emma there around, are there any recommended free video guides for using common AT programs for parents, older students, BLD tutors? Yeah, I think we got you back now, David.
Hi, yeah. Storm going on outside, so I think I'm sitting out in the DT block in the West Wing. So yeah, it's that, having those conversations that we are all different, and using those as opportunities to talk about people's differences, and the way that people's brains are wired differently in the same way as physically we all look different. So it's kind of turning that into a positive and having those PSHE type conversations as well. The problem lies with that student who also has the same difficulties. It might be that within a classroom that that the school or the parent hasn't pushed as hard in order to be able to get an EHCP or a support plan. That might then open up the question, what support can you put in with that student? And then it opens up another conversation with, have a round robin. Is that student seeing that one person using it in their class and saying that I need this is unfair? Or is that student also having the same problems? Are they having problems around the whole of the school? So it might be that child is actually crying out for help, and that's the best way that they can say it. Oh, that's not fair. It might be the fact that is their way of putting a hand up and saying, look, I'm having a problem too. So again, it's all down to time, but if you've got time to invest and have those conversations.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, perfect. Cheers, David. Thank you. Just in answer to your question there, about recommended free video guides for using common AT programs. So there are lots of video sort of guides and stuff out there for various products, as it were, individually and stuff, whether that be YouTube or on those sort of product websites. There is a course available via AT Superstore called Tau XL, which looks at all of the AT from a disability impact point of view. So you can go through a lot of the products that we've mentioned and stuff today, things like Everway, other products and stuff on there from even things like Dragon and stuff like that. So again, text to speech, speech to text. And that gives a very disability impact look at all of those products on what are the sort of how to use them, but more importantly, I think, that aiding people to get an awareness of what's out there and then to make the next sort of step, if you like, to say, okay, well, I think this one might be interesting. Let's go and have a look at a bit more information, or is there a free trial available that I can actually then try it? So that potentially could be an option as well.
It's finding what the issue is as well. Sometimes assistive technology is so massive that if you try and approach all of it, you've got to kind of break it down. I think, if text to speech, speech to text is the way forward, then just focus on that. Don't worry about the other technologies yet. And then once you've got what works for you and your students, then kind of move on to the next one. Matt mentioned before about having this sort of toolkit, this digital toolkit. break it down into smaller chunks and challenge it sort of issue by issue.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then Nosheen, can I get access to the webinar video slides today? Yes, we will be sending out those copies of those slides and stuff from the presentation to everybody as well. So you'll get access to that, and there will be a recording available as well. Should any of your colleagues or anybody else want to see that, or you want to review it at any time and stuff, then yeah, you'll get to see that as well. Perfect. So got one more. We've got a couple more come in. So okay. So also an inclusive environment where everyone can use it, but those who fought to get diagnosed then feel that they've been disadvantaged again. Again, I think it's a very potential sort of difficult area and stuff around that, and I think that's one probably for every schools, parents, SENCOs and stuff to probably deal with it on a sort of an individual case by case basis, I think, around that particular area.
I think as well, if we get to a point where everyone can use it, regardless of learning difficulties, then we should champion the people who've actually made that possible, and champion our neurodivergent students for making it possible and raising this, and for going through the, as a teenager, going through the stigma of using it in front of your peers, and making sure that these people are championed for making that difference.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Well, it's just after 1:15. I'd like to thank everybody for attending today. Thank you. Your time is very much appreciated. More importantly as well, David, thank you for your time again. I'd say for brilliantly today and the session. Thank you ever so much for last night as well. And I hope that the information and stuff that we've got across today to everybody has been beneficial and useful. I've put my email address in the chat window there if anyone wants to see that. Any questions, please get in contact with myself, David. Have a look, obviously, at the page they put up around Moon Hall and the way that they use AT. Reach out to the team at AT Superstore. Like I say, we're here to help. We're here to get all of that information and create that awareness of those products, which ultimately we're helping will help everybody through their education and then on into later life in the working world as well. So, like I say, thank you all again. I'm going to let you go off and enjoy the rest of your day. And David, thank you. We'll hopefully catch up soon. And to everybody, have a good rest of the week and enjoy your weekends. So thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you, Matt. Thanks, everybody. See you again.
Cheers, everyone. Bye-bye.